Hi guys, welcome back to the channel again. Today Emmy, down there, and I have come back to another local tourist attraction, and this is Fountains Abbey. You've got a sneak peek of a little bit of the ruins behind you there. That's not actually Fountains Abbey itself, but it's part of the whole complex. So Fountains Abbey is just outside Ripon, which is where I work, and it's probably about 2 or 3 miles after Ripon. It is another ancient monastery and abbey that was built around and founded around 1132, this one I believe, and another one that stands in complete ruins today. It's a very accessible one, Fountains Abbey. I'll show you some of the tracks that you can walk around, but if you've got a pushchair, it's really easy to get around. Everything is smooth. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today, as well as a bit of history of the Abbey. What do you think of it here? Do you like it? Or do you like the elephant better? What do you like? You like the elephant, don't you? So here Emmy and I are taking one of the footpaths down Fountains Abbey. As you can see, they're all very accessible for wheelchairs and pushchairs. Nice. It looks like gravel, but it's not. It's actually stuck down is the word I'm going to say, but that's not really what you'd call it. There is another footpath across the other side of the field over there, this meadow. That's actually one they recommended to me and I got onto the wrong one, of course, even though I've been here like a million times before. Walk back up on this footpath over there, but as you can see there's a few more buildings over there, which have got things to do in them, so I'll have a look at those later on. Behind me is the very spectacular Fountains Abbey. As you can see, now completely sits in ruins like most of the abbeys and monasteries in the area. And I've got Emmy down here just kind of chilling on a changing mat. So for nearly 400 years, I think it was, Fountains Abbey was one of the biggest monasteries and abbeys in the area. So as well as the monks that lived at Fountains Abbey, they also had lay brothers who worked as stonemasons, they worked as shepherds, they worked as brewers, they had all sorts of things going on here. It was like a little village in itself, set in this beautiful wooded valley. You really notice it as you walk down how much of a valley it really is. You sort of go down this curved path into this, it's like a glade with the abbey just set right in the bottom, so as you come down you can see the beautiful views down over the abbey itself. And then right down at the far end the river runs down, so we've got the river, I'll put this around, we've got a river that runs down here, past the pram, past some of the ruins that stand here, runs all the way down there and becomes some lakes down the bottom, which is Studley Royal, which I'll show you in a bit. Fountains Abbey was one of the most powerful as well as the largest religious houses in England, not just the north but in England itself. And what contributed to this wealth was the sheep's wool that they manufactured, well they grew on sheep, what's the word? They grew it on sheep, manufactured it and exported it here, so that's one of the reasons why it was able to be such a huge wealthy powerhouse of the north really. We're being attacked, Emmy, we're being attacked, we're being attacked. Ah! Okay, now go away, now go away. That's enough. Don't go near my baby. Emmy, you haven't even noticed those ducks there. So now we've had a bit of a chill in the sunshine, or in the shade at least. Emmy and I are going to go and explore the ruins themselves. And I'll show you some shots around the ruins with the pushchair and you can see how we get around. Because, yeah, like I said, you've got the grass but it's very well maintained. You've got the paths walking all along there. I'm not sure what that view is like, so I've got the screen flipped around. Yeah, we'll see what it's like around here. Are you talking? So if you're approaching Fountains Abbey from the visitor centre walkway down, this is the East Guest House at this side. Like I said, Fountains Abbey was basically its own little village in itself. The only problem here is that I'm completely blind to Emmy, so we're entering the front of the abbey here. And honestly, I should be able to remember all the different areas of this. There's like the nave, the cloisters, but we can go down into the cloisters. But this is only, I'd imagine this is the nave. And I'm sorry, Emmy, you're getting blinded. Perfect, there is a map. So it was the nave that we'd entered into. And what I thought were the cloisters is actually the solarium, which I'm going to show you in a minute. which would have had the dormitories upstairs. Out the back are the chapter buildings. There were the guest houses down the side there that I just showed you. The porter's lodge is off to the back, which I don't think I'm going to visit today. You can come back another day. Although that's all the information. So down here at the bottom of the nave you enter the chapel of the 9 altars. So I'd imagine at one point there were altars stood at each one of these little almost podiums nowadays. As you can see, even though it's in ruins, Fountains Abbey is still extremely spectacular and actually quite well preserved. Like Byland Abbey, Fountains Abbey is now managed by a trust. Rather than English Heritage, this is the National Trust. So we're actually members of the National Trust, which means that I got in here free today. And don't quote me on this, but I believe it's around £10 to get in here if you're not a member. Are you laughing to yourself down there? She's having a lovely time. I'll pop the price below anyway because I can't remember off the top of my head. So this is that river valley I mentioned that Fountains Abbey sits in. You can see it goes all the way down here towards Studley Royal, which we'll walk to now. It's about a 5-10 minute walk down this valley. As I said, Fountains Abbey's got plenty of easy walking paths around it, as well as this grass meadow area, which is fairly easy to get a pram across anyway, but we're following the paths today. Aren't we? Yes. Still following the little path down the middle of the river valley, and I am completely blinding Emmy here, so I would recommend bringing something to cover them up. So luckily we're going to the shade right now. I was going to put a muslin over her, but it's so warm I didn't want to suffocate her. And at the bottom of the valley is where you start to see the managed waterways come into play. So these are the Studley Royal Water Gardens. We're here entering the Studley Royal Water Gardens proper. This is an entirely different type of garden you might expect to see when you hear about an English garden, country garden, and especially one at the bottom of such spectacular ruins like Fountains Abbey. It was created by John Aisleby in the 18th century and is filled with all sorts of statues and follies and managed waterways, as you can see here. John Aisleby was once a politician who apparently fell from favour, so he retreated up to the north and decided to build a pretty spectacular garden up here to entertain his guests. So we've got the majestic site of the Abbey in the background and these very beautiful managed gardens down here. One thing that I think is so particularly impressive about the Studley Royal Water Gardens is the natural woodland that still surrounds them. So this is all completely wild woodland with walks within it all around these managed waterways like this. And as soon as we walk further down, they've got all sorts of different style and shapes of ponds and lakes as well. Here's an example of one of the ponds. This is a crescent-shaped one, and would you believe that Fountains Abbey is literally just behind that hill over there? Kind of crazy. So the gardens of Studley Royal are filled with all sorts of surprises, like this little folly just hidden up there in the woodland. So right now I'm just walking through some of the, well, it's one of the managed paths, but it's through in amongst the woodland on either side of Studley Royal of the Valley. But what you see, and I think I may have started filming a little bit early here, so let me fill this interval, is a very pretty, very spectacular view as you round the edge of this hedge. This is what Studley Royal is all about, these hidden views and follies and statues, and there's some swans in the lake there. So as you come around, it opens up into the beautiful, blurry, there you go, there's some of the ponds. So it'd be better to see if we were higher up. You can see the crescent ponds shaped like crescent moon, the full moon, and on the other side the crescent and half moons again down that end. It's all very, very cleverly designed. I'm in the Studley Royal Water Gardens. Quick fact about this, Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal have their own park run, so you can come run around these surroundings as part of the nationwide park run. So yeah, fun fact. Another fun fact, Ben and I came here the weekend before our wedding because Ben thought that it would be nice for us to do something fun the weekend before our wedding just for us. Very lovely here as well is that you can spot all kinds of wildlife, such as some swans in there. We saw the ducks earlier. I think I saw, oh, there's a seagull flying across right now for some reason. We are probably about as in the middle of the country as you can be right now. Anyway, I saw some moorhens here earlier, I believe. I can't spot any right now, but I think I saw some. And I imagine there's all sorts of deer. There will be rabbits, can't see any right now. Yeah, so it's not just a pretty garden. Difficult to show, but when you come into Fountains Abbey at the visitor centre, you are given a map to find your way around because it's quite a big place really. So Emmy's holding that map for you as she has a little sleep here. The good thing is that you don't just have to follow these paths, even though I am right now because it's a little bit easier with a pushchair. All this is lawned and it's kept nice and short and smooth and landscaped, which means that you can walk along all these little bits in between the ponds and the lakes and get a different view of them. You can see these statues. I just advise being careful with young children because there's nothing to stop them at the edges of these ponds. They just literally drop straight into the water. And he's fast asleep in her pram now after this lovely walk. I'm at the top of the Studley Royal Gardens here, and you've got a bridge to cross. I was about to panic because I thought that it was stepping stones. I'd forgotten. I was thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to go across the stepping stones, I'm going to have to turn around and go back, so I can't get across with the pram. Luckily there's a bridge, so you can get over. Anyway, everything on this side of the bridge, the other side over there, is parkland, and that's completely free to visit. So if you're on a budget and you've come to Ripon or North Yorkshire, you can still see some of these spectacular things, and you can come and have a peer over down there and see some of Studley Royal, or at least some of Studley Royal Gardens. You can see the Studley Royal Parkland completely for free. We're on a bridge, Emmy, we're on a bridge! I probably should be concentrating so I don't drop her in, but it was just too tempting. And look how beautiful it is. I can't believe it's such a beautiful day. Maternity leave is the best. And once you've reached the bottom here, there is a little cafe slash restaurant. There's also parking up here, which I think may be free parking, so that you can visit Studley Royal Parkland to that side. And there's a little gateway there so that you can pay to get into the rest of it. So yeah, you've got the restaurant down there, and just down this footpath there it's a shop as well, a little gift shop which has ice creams in, or it did last year anyway when I came. So we've had a quick stop at the tea room. I had some water which turned out was free. You can get, there's a little water fountain in there, you can get some water, so that was nice. And Emmy had some milk from Mummy. There's a nice little outdoor seating area where I managed to shade her with my body. Oh, there's the banqueting house up there. I've been up there before. It's a steep hill to climb, so I would not advise it with a pushchair. Oh my goodness, I'm getting out of breath. Why don't you put your dress down? Yes, so one thing that I didn't consider before having a pushchair with me, or before having a baby with me, is that you need to keep an eye out for toilets where you can change a baby and where you can get a pushchair in, especially if you're by yourself. Oh, it's gone very bright all of a sudden. Come out into the sun. Luckily she's shaded this way back. So the toilets here were up some steps, so I would never have got up to them. Luckily there was a disabled toilet in the tea room that I could get her into, so we managed to use that. But there was no changing area, so if she needs changing, which I think she will do very soon, we are going to have to do a quick change on her change mat on the grass somewhere, which is fine because there's lots of quiet areas, but you know, it's good to note. Random fact, this was on, I think it was like Gardener's World or something, and there was Alan Titchmarsh, I would say, with in a minute all these plants up here, and it is tea. So yeah, that's fun. So right now we are walking back along the edges of Studley Royal. We're going up the other side of the ponds this time, and then we've got to walk up the steep hill back past the Abbey, back to the car park and the visitor centre, because it closed at 5 o'clock and it's 4 o'clock now. So here you can see the other angle of the Crescent and Moon ponds. I don't know if they're called that. I feel like they are. I feel like I read it somewhere once or heard it somewhere once. But this is coming up the other side from them, and it's a little bit more hilly this way. So I'm getting out of breath. And she's still having a wonderful time, just chilling there with her elephant, grabbing her toes, watching the trees go by. Yeah. Studley Wall was designed with lines of sight all in mind, so everywhere you go you can see it's all perfectly lined up to draw your eye, draw the attention to certain things. So you've got the folly up on the hill there, and the eyes running all the way down to the lake down the bottom there. There are some places that aren't quite wheelchair or pushchair accessible, such as down here there's some steps down the bottom of this bit that so I can't get down there, but you can still get a pretty good view of it from up here. Oh, okay, you wanted to go down there, did you? Let's keep going. So even though I've been here at Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal for like, I don't know, 2 hours now probably, there are plenty of places that I haven't been. There's a Temple of Piety which is up on the hill, the Serpentine Tunnel I pointed out in a video, or you might have just seen a glance of it, and the Octagon Tower you saw a glance of, as well as the Temple of Fame. Sorry it's wibbly because I'm pushing the pushchair to keep her happy. The deer park was down at that end, the banqueting house I didn't go up to because it was in the woods. There were so many things up and around in the woods, so definitely oh bless you, bless you, definitely recommend spending a whole day here really. She told me that she wanted me to tell you what she's wearing today. So this is a lemon and orange print dress. Orange and Lemons from the Bells of St Clements from J by Jesper Conran at Debenhams, with a little vest underneath from H&M. It's from their sustainable collection. It's a little bit bigger than it likes, it's 2 to 4 months. Even though she's 2 months, she's not quite big enough for it yet. And she did have some tights on as well, but they've gone because it was too warm. So we're just walking back the way that we came, so in a minute you'll see Fountains Abbey come back into view again. Excuse me! Every time I get this camera out, you can walk back along the path on the other side underneath the trees there, but we decided to come back this way, and apparently she really wanted to go the other way. Sorry, I'm sorry. Quick fun fact, you can just about see it, there goes the Yorkshire Air Ambulance. It's yellow, that's, you can tell it's very blurry, sorry. Don't know where it's going. There it is. It's coming back into view again, found the ruins of Fountains Abbey. If you walk back up the other side of the river, I have to say that is more of a spectacular view of it, because you get the river and the abbey reflected in it. So maybe one day I'll come back and do that, because also out the other side of the abbey you've got the mill, which has a video that tells you all about Fountains Abbey. I believe it has some monks chanting on it. So I'm going to skip that today because it's out the other side. And I've also just remembered they have a manor house out the other side of the abbey down the river next to the mill that you can look around to. It doesn't have a lot in it, but it's very interesting, and I'm not doing very well because I'm not showing you around it today. Today we're just seeing the outdoor things because it's such a nice day. I don't want to be indoors. Said how amazing maternity leave is, but can I just say again, look, it's such a beautiful day and I don't have to be in the office. I am missing work, but look, I can come and do this instead. Take this, oh it's very zoomed in, sorry Emmy girl. Oh, take this out for a walk on a sunny day and see things like this. Oh my goodness, why wouldn't it focus? There we go. So you can probably imagine how honestly amazing this once was. That would have been a huge window. You've got the big spire there in the middle of just this glade, this wooded glade in the middle of nowhere. As you can imagine, if you're coming to, every time I get the camera out, okay, this might be a bit wobbly now. As you can imagine, if you're coming to Fountains Abbey with a pushchair and a baby, you probably want to come on a fairly nice day because it's very outdoorsy. There's a lot of walking to do to get to the abbey. The abbey's all outdoors, so you don't really want it to be raining unless you've got a good rain cover that you know how to work, unlike me. Before we walk down the inside of the nave, this is the path up the side of the nave, which brings us back to the path that takes us up the hill, which I am not looking forward to with you. With you. I suppose I could have had her in the carrier, but to be honest, the pushchair's probably better on a day like today. Right. This is like the most exercise I've done since probably, I don't know, November last year, because when I was pregnant I had SPD and really painful pelvis. So here we go. Down there is where the mill is, the manor house. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, it's the Porter's Lodge, I think. And there are also some toilets down there. Oh, Fountains Hall, that's what it is. It's Fountains Hall, and then there's Porter's Lodge, is a different thing, and some toilets down there as well. So there's some at this end and at the Studley Royal end. Oh my gosh, here we go with the hill. We're halfway up. We're halfway up. Oh my goodness. This is hard work. I don't need to schedule any training sessions. I just need to do this every day. Oh, so when I said we're halfway up, I forgot about this bit. We were halfway up the steep bit, at least. We've got that bit to go still. We can do it. But this is where the path branches, and I'll zoom. That way goes down to the west gate entrance, which also has a accessible entrance. I'm not sure how it's any different to this one, but it's useful to know it branches off down that way. And at the final step of the journey, you've got the Swanley Grange here, which has some little activities inside. Swanley Grange. Here you can learn about the sheepfold. You can try the touching the fleeces, and you can see the vegetable garden. Is this all along this fence? They've got a little, well, it's not little, it's a very, very long knitted, almost scarf-like thing that goes all the way up along there. When you finally ascended the hill, which I recommend taking a lot slower than I did, there's a play area here for older children and amongst the trees. They've got some climbing frames, picnic benches, this little like teepee fort in the woods. A bit more of it here. I mean, this looks like a pretty cool playground in my opinion. I would love this. In fact, I would love it now. I think I might have just said this is a little playground. It isn't. It's a huge play area, which is pretty awesome. Then over this side, you've got some picnic benches in amongst the trees. So awesome if you bring your own picnic and you don't want to pay National Trust prices for food. Finally, we're back where we started. This is a visitor centre. It's got a restaurant or cafe tea room, a shop, a garden centre, all sorts of little bits in it actually. And now we're going to head off to the car park and make our way home again, aren't we? Back out the other side of the visitor centre, I've just discovered that they do have baby changing facilities at this end. So this is the Fountains Abbey end. I'm not sure what they call it. It's car park A and B. It's next to Westgate is where the disability access is. And yeah, they've got a bit more information here about the Abbey itself and about Studley Royal. So I will end the video here, and I hope you've enjoyed this day out at Fountains Abbey with me. Let me know if you have. Subscribe, like and all that, and I will see you next time for our next Yorkshire day out. This one was more of a full day out rather than Byland Abbey was more of a like quick walk. This one you could actually spend a whole day here, bring a picnic, bring the dog, bring the children. Yeah, so I'll see you next time. Bye!